Hi, I'm Tucker.
I'm Will.
And this is the Bulldog Banter,
We talk about stuff, talk to people about stuff, and give you the latest banter.
Bulldog style. Today's guest is Raechel Warren, or Miss Nebraska.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me,
Yay.
guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Jeez, right.
All right, first question. So how did everything, what was your journey to get to Miss Nebraska?
Oh, man, right off the start. Okay, so I've been competing in the Miss America program for almost 10 years. If you don't know, the Miss America program is the largest scholarship provider for young women. And Miss Nebraska is actually crowned right here at North Platte, so it's pretty special to be back here. But this is a dream come true. I really never thought I would be in Miss America. I would be a state title holder. I always saw these women competing, and they were local title holders in my community doing great things, but I was a 3-sport athlete. That was never something I thought I would do. And I did it one year after I suffered a soccer injury. And so my friend was like, you should try this. And I did it and I won. And I thought, okay, that was great. And I earned a bunch of scholarship money and never thought I would keep going. And here we are. And it's been the best thing I could have ever done. It's brought me lifelong friends, almost $60,000 in scholarships, some amazing opportunities, networking. I've landed every job I've ever interviewed for because of Miss Nebraska. And because of Miss America. So I'm just honored to finally be able to serve and do things that I've watched other women do and I've hoped to do. And now I get to put those plans into motion. And it's been the absolute best year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so where'd your story start? Where'd you go to school at? All those?
Yeah, so my origin story, if you will. So I actually grew up in Southern Oregon, Roseburg. It's about the size of North Platte, so I love being here in North Platte. I used to come to Nebraska every summer for roller skating competitions. So I spent my summers starting from 6 years old onward in Lincoln and Omaha at those places no longer exist. They tore them down, but the roller skating museum is in Lincoln. That's the headquarters of roller skating. So that's how I got to know Nebraska. I was a Husker fan from a little young girl because I grew up, coming here every summer. And then I moved here about 5 years ago for work, and they raised the age limit again in Miss America. I thought I'd aged out, and I decided to go for it one more time. But yeah, I went to school in Oregon, went to college, started college at Northwest Christian University, played soccer for a couple years, and then transferred up to Seattle U, where I graduated with a degree in economics.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so your talent is roller skating,
Yes.
right? So how has that been? Because it's no one else does it, right?
Yeah.
So what's that like?
It's really, really special. There's a few times going into this where I've had people tell me to change my talent. It's not going to work. The judges don't know how to judge it. And so it really taught me a lot how to advocate for myself and how to stick to my guns and my gut, if you will, about this is what I'm going to do. And it's been really fun. So my coach was she's a 15-time national champion, a 4-time world champion, but she also does show skating. So she skated for Usher, Gwen Stefani, all that stuff. So working with her has been really cool because I've been able to learn how to take a roller skating routine that's typically done in a big, arena like you'd see ice skating or something, and push it down onto a small stage, but yet perform and still show those technical qualities. So that's been really special. But I will say what's been even better about this is I take my skates with me wherever I go. That's kind of become my thing. And so next week, I'll be in Alabama for Miss America's homecoming, taking my roller skates, and I'm going to go visit a rink there. Never been to Alabama, never skated in a rink there, but one of my goals is to hit at least one rink in every state and to tell the story of rink owners. It's kind of, people think it's a dying sport, but I'm able to use my love of the sport to connect with people all over the country. And I've actually now heard of some young women that are starting to roller skate for their talent in Miss America because of what I've been able to do. So not only was I able to skate at, on the Miss America stage, which was honestly one of my ultimate dreams during this process, but I've been able to share that love with so many people and encourage others to keep roller skating. So it's been really cool.
For sure.
Yeah. I haven't roller skated since
I don't think I've ever roller skated.
Maranatha camp when you were?
No.
I finally got to go there a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I've never gone roller skating before.
You should try it. It'll be fun. You can do it from the age of 3 to, I skated with a gentleman that was 90 years old a few months ago.
Ooh.
So you can skate your whole life. It's like riding.
I don't know if
I'm going to do one of those trainers, those push cart things.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't endorse them, but you can try it.
But so you said you played soccer, right?
Yeah.
So you said 3-sport athlete. What 3 sports did you play?
So I did soccer, basketball, cross country, and then roller skating. So 4, yes, technically.
Yeah, you can say.
Yeah,
How was
mostly
your
soccer. That was
soccer
garbage.
experience? Did you say you played that in college?
For a couple of years,
how
yeah.
was that?
So it was great. I also never thought I would play in sports. I mean, I played it at NAIA school, and I remember thinking, oh man, it's NAIA, I didn't make it. But You know what? It was really cool. And I once had a coach say there is a level for everybody in college when whatever you want that dream to look like. And I think that's super true. So if that's your goal to play collegiate sports, like do it because there's a team for you. So that was really, really great. I was really proud of that experience. I did get injured. I had Achilles tendinosis. So it was basically like overuse of my Achilles. And that was really hard to go through. And that honestly is how my CSI kind of came to be. I recognized that, through mentorship was how I got to where I was. And after that injury, I really didn't know what life was going to look like. I didn't know if I was going to be able to skate again. I didn't know if I was going to be able to be active again. But it was because I had all these mentors and coaches pour into me and just say, look, you have all these gifts and strengths and you may use them on the soccer field or at the roller rink, but they're transferable outside of these, outside of this field. And so I didn't really realize the power that those mentors had in my life or the impact that they had until a lot of the things that I had learned from them had almost been taken away. And so that was what prompted me to start Passion to Purpose, was so that other young people could have the gift of mentorship and recognize and have someone pouring into them, and encourage them that you're more than just an athlete. You're more than just a roller skater. You're a whole person and you have lots of gifts.
Yeah. So you said your CSI was passion to purpose.
Yeah.
So what really all does that entail?
Yeah. So when it first started, right, it was about, okay, I believe that we are unique beings. We each have a purpose. We each have a God-given purpose here. And when I was, after that injury, right, I literally was like, okay, I'm an athlete. I'm a soccer player. That's all I did, And yes, I was in band and I had all these other things that I was involved in, but all of my identity, if you will, came from the things that I did, came from my medals won in skating or whatever. And I wanted other young people to recognize that those things don't define who you are. Winning first, I never won. So in roller skating, there's this thing called the John Wentz Award, which is what you win if you get first place at nationals and it goes to your coach. I never won that for my coach. And I always felt man, my mom won that for my coach. All my peers won that. And I never did, but I had to get over that because that did not define who I was as a roller skater or who I was as Raechel. And I wanted other young people to recognize that. So what started out is just encouraging kids to discover their passions. And I say that, discover your passions and purpose. I did vision boards with young people, really encouraging them to dream big and goal set. Now has turned more into recruiting for mentors. I partner with Mentor Nebraska and teammates to encourage people to become mentors, to show them that you have a story and you don't have to have some big thing that happened in your life to be a mentor. You can simply just show up for that young person. So it's really taken a lot of forms over 10 years, but I have a website now. I have some downloadable curriculum, and just going out there and sharing my story and encouraging kids that, you are gifted, you're talented, you're unique, and there's someone out there that wants to help you succeed.
Sweet. Yeah. That was probably the best answer we've ever had.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Miss Nebraska, I don't know a lot about pageants, but what's that whole process from start to finish to where you are?
I mean, everyone's story is really different, as cliche as that sounds, but really, I said, I didn't start till I was 19. So some people start, in the teen division at 13, they go all the way up. Some of the girls I competed with at Miss America were Miss Whatever's teen and Miss Whatever's Miss. So some girls have been in this for a long time. It's really what you make it, though. It's just like a sport. It really is a sport. If you want something bad enough, right, you set your sights on it and you go for it. I knew this was the dream that I had once I started competing. I was like, I really want that. And so it became, okay, how do I better myself? Who do I need to be in contact with? Who are the people I need? Who are the new mentors that I need to grow? What do I need to be doing? We have a health and fitness category. Okay, well, that's always been part of my lifestyle. But once I wasn't a soccer player anymore, that changed, and how I worked out and how my nutrition was, that changed. And so I learned so much about myself. And I think that's honestly the biggest part of it. We just had crowns and gowns last weekend here in North Platte with the prom shop. Shout out to the prom shop. And we did lots of workshops. And one of the things that I kept drilling into the girls was know your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be Miss Nebraska? Because it's not just this crown and it's not just the sash and all the glamour. It's there's so much work that goes into it. And it's way more than just this title. It's it's a sport. It's a service project. You're pouring out your heart into all the people that you meet. I spent a couple nights ago, I was at the Knights game with some little kids, not very many of them, just a few little kids in the Community Connections program. But I guarantee you that there's a couple of those kids that was a game-changing night for them because someone gave them a little extra attention. And so if that is what I did as Miss Nebraska, is I was able to impact 2 or 3 children, which I know it's more than that. But if that's what I was able to do, then I've done my job and I've left a legacy. And so but there's hard nights, there's tough days. You have to know why you want it. And so the journey is really what you make it, but it's awesome. And I have absolutely no regrets and I'm so grateful.
Yeah. You were mentioning leaving an impact. What do you want to do in the future for your everything?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's kind of up in the air in some ways. So for my other day job, I like to say I work in commodities. So corn, soybeans, dried distillers grains. So I have a whole other day job. A lot of my colleagues and my colleagues are super supportive, and a lot of my customers know that I'm Miss Nebraska, but it's really cool to be in the ag industry and be a woman in agriculture, but also be able to be Miss Nebraska. That's a big part of our state. But the future, I am getting married this fall, so that's really exciting. I do want to go on and get my master's degree. I'm able to do that basically again, debt-free because of Miss Nebraska. So kind of looking into options there. But I'd like to continue in my career. And then I definitely want to start volunteering with the Miss America program as soon as I'm allowed to. There's some rules, so I can't come back to Miss Nebraska right away, but I can't wait to help as much as I can. We're already kind of putting plans into place for things we'd like to see grow. And so I just want to give back in the way that was poured into me. There's people out there that do this really selflessly. And then there's people out there that sometimes they try to take advantage of the spotlight that you have or whatever. But I want to pour into the girls because I know when I had those good mentors, how much that changed me. So I'm really excited to help see this program grow. But I also think that this will open some doors that haven't quite opened yet for other opportunities. And I'm excited to see what those are.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you're a mentor.
Yeah.
So what and you said you had curriculum? What does that curriculum entail?
Yeah,
really?
so my curriculum is it's really cool because this is something I'd wanted to do for a really long time. So it really started as me, and I still do this, going into classrooms, I give my presentation, I kind of tell my story, and then depending on what the age group is, work different topics. So a lot of times I get asked to talk about integrity, overcoming failure, talk about my injury, things like that. But the curriculum, I wanted something that was downloadable and free, where kids could go, teachers could go, and you could just do kind of the questions that I give in my presentation. And so I worked with this gentleman, Larry Kiter of Larry Kiter Coaching. I met him. Again, I encourage you all you guys too, ask questions and don't be afraid, because the answer is going to be no if you don't ask. But I had this guy come in to do an HR session with leadership, and I was listening to him talking about Clifton Strengths and Gallup, and I was I need to talk to that guy. That's who's going to help me. I straight up just went up to him and was hi, my name's Raechel. I loved your presentation. I'm Miss Nebraska, blah, 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 blah. Hit it off from there. I've become friends with his daughter and his wife, but he helped me. I said, this is what I want to do. I just don't know how to do it. And he helped me, with the help of his colleague who has a middle schooler, kind of develop some questions on a worksheet so that you could talk about goal setting and what fills your bucket? What are your passions? It took some things from Gallup and Clifton Strengths and then some verbiage that I use and kind of put it together on this sheet. So it's nothing deep or it's not multi-pages. It's literally just a sheet, and ask some kids some questions, and ultimately just helps kind of get your mind thinking about who you are and what makes you tick, what do you love about yourself and things like that. So that was a long-winded answer, but it's just a really cool process to see it all come together.
Never heard of anything like that. It's really cool.
Thanks.
It is really cool.
Have you guys done strengths testing or Clifton Strengths or anything like that?
Never heard of it.
We might have in middle school. I feel I remember doing something like that in middle school.
Maybe.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time.
I encourage you to take it again, just a plug for that. Those types of things where you can kind of see your personality come to life. It's really cool. And it helps encourage you that okay, I'm really good at, I'm going to say I'm really good at math. I'm not really good at math, but if I was really good at math, and be okay, that's good. How can I use that? Or maybe I'm really weak in, I'm not good at delegating tasks. So I need help teaching me how to do that. It kind of helps show your strengths and weaknesses so that you know where you need help and how you can succeed. And ultimately, I don't know. It's really affirming to do that.
Yeah, I think now that you've talked about it, I did do one during FFA officer.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Because Swedberg made me do it, but it was a 100-question test about
it's pretty cool.
They're pretty cool.
But it's cool to see how you are, because you're not your own thoughts. It's like what somebody else thinks.
Yeah. And you can't second guess it. Like you just have to answer it. Yeah.
Yeah. But you mentioned mentors a lot.
Yeah.
How do you think a mentor affects somebody's life? Like coaching, parents, like it's a big question.
That's a big question. Are you guys athletes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure you've had like really great coaches and you probably had some like maybe not so great coaches. But those really great coaches, I think, even like both of them, to be honest, like they teach you stuff, right? Yeah. Like each time that you're on a team with a different coach, like you learn something, whether about people, about teammates, about yourself. And I think like one of my biggest mentors, I'll kind of talk about too. My longtime mentor was my skating coach. So she was my mom's coach. She was my coach. And she taught me how to be a good skater, but she taught me how to like a lot of life lessons. I traveled a lot with her. So she taught me personal finance. You know, my mom would give her an envelope of, okay, here's your money for nationals. And she would like write down, you know, okay, you bought this for dinner. And so like I learned those types of skills and she took the time with me there. But I also learned how to take help from other coaches. So she would be open and be like, I'm not the best coach in this particular thing. So I'm going to like take you to so-and-so because she's really good at coaching this and I want you to get the best coaching. So she'd go with me to this lesson and like learn with me of how to like coach me better. And that was a huge skill because sometimes people are very like, no, I'm the coach and you know, no one else can, but it was a huge life lesson because now I like love getting advice from all different corners and I love seeing who else can help me. My band director, huge influence in my life. Young, he was really young when he took the job, but just always encouraged us to like, if we loved to play, he was going to find a way for us to get involved as much as we could. And I was an athlete, right? So like, it was hard to be in band and soccer at the same time. And he never made that a barrier. Like I was a district solo and ensemble champion. I was a total band nerd, but I was also a soccer player and they would come to support me at soccer games and equally support me in band. So like those mentors that just, like they encourage you, they uplift you, they make you better. Like a good coach, right? They're gonna call you out and call you up. So I think those are the mentors that really change your life. And my band director's coming to my wedding, you know? So it's like those people might be with you the rest of your life and that's pretty cool.
100%, yeah. So you talked about like criticism and stuff.
Yeah.
Like what do you think is a big thing that people should change the way they look at criticism?
Ooh, like when you take criticism?
Yeah, like the way you take it.
I think it's all about perspective. And I'm smiling as you're asking me this because I had to deal with this a little bit at Miss America. I think sometimes we go into things with a really narrow mindset, like, hey, this is how it's going to be. I've planned for this. And you have all these expectations. But I really wanted to go into Miss America with no expectations because I wanted it to be whatever it was going to be. But I had a couple things come up where I had a plan A and I had a plan B and I had a plan C, but I did not have plan D, E, F, G, whatever. And I had to go, like, my director will say, you had to go to plan Z. Like, we had to really change some things really on this spot. And my big motto is flexible and gracious and adaptability because you don't know what's going to happen. And it's all about perspective. I mean, I could have let whether it be the criticisms all the way back when of like, you shouldn't skate for your talent, you know, and then we had like whatever happened at Miss America to, well, like I had someone at Miss America ask me, are your skates going to damage my floor? And I was like, I kind of just laughed in my head and respectfully was like, no, you know, this is what my wheels are like, blah, blah, blah. But like, I could have let any one of those little things kind of like ruin my entire experience. I could have let it get me down. I could have let it, oh, Miss America is awful, whatever. But I didn't because I was like, nope, like I'm here for a reason. I'm meant to do this. I fully believe that like the Lord's put me on the stage for a reason. And I had to shift my perspective. I knew that those little things were just little bumps along the road. But if you have a good perspective and you're like, okay, that was just like water off a duck's back. Like that, I didn't love that, but like, here we go. Like we're here for a reason. If you can have that positive perspective, anything is possible. Like, I know, again, that sounds kind of cliche, but like, if I wouldn't have been able to flip that switch and recognize that, okay, you're not going to throw off like what I've worked so hard for. And at the end of the day, I'm Miss Nebraska, and that's really awesome. And no matter what happens on this stage, I get to go home and be Miss Nebraska. Like that perspective, that positive mindset gets you through anything. So if you face really hard criticism, you know, like have good perspective, talk to people around you, of course, if it's, you know, really bad, but know that at the end of the day, like that's someone's opinion of you. These judges for Miss America, it's 5 people's opinion on a given day. So don't let that define who you are either.
Yeah, that was a really good answer. Yeah. I think every time I think about criticism, I always get back to whiplash.
Oh
movie.
my gosh,
I love
it's a
that
great movie.
I just watched it for the first time the other day.
Okay.
And
Yeah, you texted me right
I
after.
know. I was like, they
Actually,
completely
watch
changed
it.
the way.
Yeah.
Completely changed
Yeah.
the way I thought about
And
criticism.
like that's a really interesting example, right? Because he's really tough on
Yeah.
him. Like you're almost like he doesn't like him, but then you realize that he's so tough on him because he sees the potential in him. And my boss actually the other day, my boss is great, but he was like, there's some days where I'm like, okay, I need you to tell me I'm doing a good job, not like just, but he told me, he goes, I'm tough on you because I know you're going to like, you can do this really well. And I want to see you succeed. But like, I needed to hear that. But I also, it kind of gave me a new perspective of, okay, in this next scenario, when he gives me grief or makes me, work hard for an answer, whatever it is, like, that's not him trying to give me a hard time. Like that's him trying to make me better. And so I think if you can have that perspective, it makes things easier and it makes you able, it kind of, I don't know, it drives you, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good thing for high schoolers because I feel like a lot of high schoolers don't see that line between they're just mean to me.
Yeah.
They're pushing
Yeah.
They're trying to help me
Yeah.
get better.
It'd
Yeah.
be great because being in athletics, you see kids that are like, oh, I don't want to do this because it's way too hard. And you can, I don't know, like just seeing the difference between the coaches and the like perspective of what
And
you're
I think
saying.
too, like my encouragement to you guys and whoever's watching is like, again, ask questions. Like I jokingly call myself the question queen, but like, I'm not afraid to ask. And like, there's never a stupid question. Like, yes, obviously like know the timing, of course, but ask the question. Like if you're struggling with something, if your coach is on you, like ask, like, how can I get better? What am I doing wrong? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Help me understand. Like, because if you ask that question, like that could open up the door of, okay, now I get it. That could, or someone else might be able to say it to you differently than someone else could. And like that could open up that kind of have that light bulb, switch for you. So don't be afraid because I think, definitely there's people that can coach better than others. But I think at the end of the day, like ultimately they want to see you be successful. So like ask because they're there to help you.
Yeah. So you're talking about Miss America. How is that? I bet that was a crazy experience. Can you tell us about it?
Miss America it's still very surreal. Like to be quite honest with you guys, I don't think it's totally set in that I did that. I was my goal was to go and be very, very present, but also do a job, right? Like I really wanted my goal was to win a preliminary talent award. And I didn't do that, but I have no regrets of what I did on that stage, like I said. And that was one of my director's goal was no regrets. Like what you wear, how you talk, how you act, like be Raechel 100%, have no regrets. And I did that. And Miss America is really cool. It's changed. It's been around for 104 years and it's gone through some of the craziest, it's changed with the culture. It's changed with time. We almost didn't have Miss America a couple years ago. COVID was in there. But it was really special to be a part of something that's been around that long and been such a cultural influencer. I mean, Miss America used to be on lunchboxes, right? She used to go tour the USO bases in front of our military men and women. And so it's really, really special to be a part of that legacy and that sisterhood. And now I have literally friends from all across the country. And that's really cool. It was a really wild experience. We were in Florida. I was there for a week and a half. The process leading up to it, again, I've been competing for 10 years. So I had things in my head that I was like, okay, if I get to go to Miss America, I'm going to do this. Or like when I bought my interview dress last year for state, I was like, if I win Miss Nebraska, I'm wearing this to Miss America. Like this is what I want to look like in my interview. So there's lots of things that go into it. The North Platte community came out and supported me so much, not just during this year, but they helped me fundraise all the money that I needed to get there. And now I only have about $2,000 left to like pay off some of my Miss America funds. And that's huge. So I'm so thankful for all these people. So it can be an investment, but it is the best investment I could have ever made because now I have, again, all these friends, all these connections, all these doors. Also down there, we were at Universal Orlando. I got to meet a Minion. I got to meet some characters from Universal Studios. That was pretty fun. We spent a lot of time just like on the property. We met some really amazing people. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. I don't know so anyone knows like Motley Crue, 80s rock. Okay, so Nikki Sixx was there. So like no one else, I love 80s rock. I was like, that's Nikki Sixx. And everyone was like, who? And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys. So like I went and talked to him, got a picture with him, talked to his wife. They're sponsors of Miss America. So you just never know who you're going to run into as a Miss America contestant.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys know who it is.
Yeah.
That would not have landed well.
I was listening to it. I think I was listening to Alice in Chains on the way here.
There you go.
Yeah, you were blasting that. Sorry.
Actually, that was, it wasn't it. It was, I'm blanking right now. Anyways, doesn't matter. Doesn't
Pop-up
matter.
song.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had like one piece of advice
Oh gosh.
Piece of
that
advice.
you would tell high schoolers,
High
or
schoolers.
anybody, like, yeah,
Or
like
anyone-
one-on-one with somebody, what would
Yeah.
you tell them?
Okay, well, I'll give you two because this one I have to say because I can't say this enough. Like, be adaptable, be willing to change your plans, be willing to try something new, go with the flow. You know, if something doesn't go your way, like I promise you in life, in sports, in pageantry, whatever it is, like being able to be adaptable will get you so far. And it's a skill that I think is kind of fading, but business people, bosses, you know, everyone out there in the community, like they'll see that because it's good when you can, okay, I'm just going to switch and go this direction. And the other piece of advice I would just say is like, be yourself. Like if you love to play the saxophone like I did, if you love pageantry, if you love sports, if you love to code, if you love hosting a podcast, like look at what you guys have done. Like, this is cool. And like keep at that, you know, and if there's going to be people again that like try to come at you and be like, oh, you guys can't do this, or, oh, this is whatever they're going to say, right? You shouldn't roller skate at Miss America, whatever that piece of criticism is, like, you know, be a filter, not a sponge too, I guess is my third piece of advice, because there's going to be all these people that come at you and there's going to be things that you need to take and good advice. And then there's going to be other things you say, thank you, but no thank you. And you like filter that out respectfully. And I think if you can do that, and like the more you know yourself, the better you can do that, you're going to be so successful because you're going to be able to take all the things that come at you and you can take what you need and let go of what you want and not be overwhelmed with like, oh my gosh, I have 20 different people telling me what I should do. But you'll know what's for me and what's not for me. And I know that's like a little deep, but I think that if you guys can start thinking about those things now, you're going to be so successful.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Great. Happy to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
All right. Well,
thank you for
that
coming
was-
on. And
yeah, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
on
Thank
Miss
you.
Nebraska.
Yeah. And all the young ladies out there, if I can just make a plug, Miss Nebraska is going to be held right here in North Platte, on June 7th, the weekend of June 7th. So we'll all be here in North Platte. It's really
Right
special.
here in the school, too.
Right here in the school, just right around the corner. We get to spend our whole week in the community, which is amazing, and then hang out during Nebraska Land Days the next week, the winter. So come on and support Miss Nebraska. If you're on the fence about competing, high school ladies, come watch. It's super fun. So yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for coming on again.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Thank you, Foundation.
I'm Tucker,
I'm Will.
and this has been the Bulldog Banter. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thank you.